We got 11 AFC teams still fighting over 7 spots. Time to figure out the playoff picture heading into week 14. The calculations are from the Playoff Computer app. Fantasy Football Playoff Crunch Time is here. Check it out to see what needs to happen for your team to make the playoffs. All the geeky good stuff is about the price of one beer for an entire year. Updating the interconference records, the AFC pulled to even just about, making this stat pretty much irrelevant for whether either conference would have a bunch of wins spread around compared to the other. So we can move on. The team in the AFC with the highest statistical chance to make the playoffs is New England. Had absolutely no problem with the Giants to get to 11 wins, and that is the magic number to be awarded the prestigious Playoff Computer realistically in designation. Now, that doesn't mean they have clinched a spot, just that the series of events that would have to happen for them to not be playing in the postseason is of cataclysmic quality. Interestingly enough, for week 14, no team in the NFL can actually clinch a playoff spot this upcoming week, the Patriots included, mainly because they are on bye. They are still in something close to resembling a fight for the division with the Bills, who they will host in week 15, which could be their coronation again. The Denver Broncos had no difficulty with the Commanders to win their 9th in a row. That kept them 2 in front of the Chargers for the AFC West and near locks for a playoff spot. They should just need one more to be safely in the playoffs, and a game with the Raiders seems like a good opponent to have to achieve that. Now they do need to watch out for what an upset loss could do, as they finish with 4 playoff caliber teams in the Packers, Jaguars, Chiefs, and Chargers. So no reason to celebrate quite yet. Okay, if you've watched the Jaguars much of this year, you know there's some pain in my voice to say they are the team in the AFC with the 3rd highest chances, but here we are. 8-4 after crushing the Titans. Take over the AFC South by a tiebreaker from the Colts. Now above 8-10 chances to make the playoffs. The big game with the Colts this week. Face them again in week 17. Maybe for the division, but we got the Texans trying to squeeze into the contest as well. Tiebreakers between the 3 could be interesting. Jacksonville has already played Houston twice. They all could, in theory, end up 1-1 against each other with 4-2 division records. Winner here, of course, has a leg up, while the loser will be thrown into what could be a real barn burner wildcard race. The Jaguars do have games against the Jets and Titans still remaining, so they should reach at least 10 wins no matter what else happens, which right now is looking like a safe mark for them. Do hold tiebreakers over the Chiefs and Chargers, which could be huge. The Chargers coming in at number 4, getting a needed win over the Raiders to stay on the forefront of the wildcard race. Unfortunately, that was the last of their opponents that sport a losing record. And with their O-line worries, they are possibly in for a tough finish. Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, and Texans, then Broncos. The Chiefs and Texans being ones that could decide the wild card race. Wins over those two would give them potentially crucial tiebreaker advantages. Next up are the Colts, losers to the Texans to lose their grip on the AFC South. As we mentioned, the game against the Jaguars for first place in the division, with loser knee-deep in the wildcard race. Now for the Colts, they do have the tiebreaker over the Chargers, but would lose one to the Chiefs and Steelers. And unlike the Jaguars, no easy games left in the Colts schedule. Finish with the Seahawks, 49ers, Jaguars, Texans. They are raising the seeds of an epic collapse if they continue on this recent trend. The Bills got a big win over the Steelers, even if it wasn't always pretty. Keeps them with an outside chance at the AFC East. More importantly, now a 78% chance to make the playoffs. Still have some work to do. Might need 3 more wins. Right now, their tiebreaker situation is wins against the Ravens, Chiefs, and Steelers, but one loss staring them in the face is against the Texans. Host the Bengals, who are in playoff mode, as in they need likely to win out, so this will definitely be must-see TV. Next week, the game against the Patriots, depending on this week's outcome, will determine how important that will be. Do have the Browns and Jets remaining, but those might be the two teams that are out of it but still playing the hardest. So with the Bills not always playing top-notch football this year, another team in which their forecast could be all over the map. In one of those statistical oddities, the Texans have a better mathematical chance than either of the AFC North leaders, although they currently are on the outside looking in. Got the big win against the Colts for their 4th in a row, and to continue their escape from the early season hole they dug. Got what will be another huge game this week against the Chiefs. I would say a loss would put them right back in that hole, as it would put the Chiefs above them in the playoff race. Do get a breather after this with the Cardinals and Raiders. Now, if I plug in a loss to the Chiefs, but wins in the next 2, that will give them decent odds of 74% without factoring in any other games. With Indy and Jacksonville still having both their head-to-head games, Houston might want to hope that one of them sweeps the other to help out their wildcard chances rather than placing their hopes on the division title. Now we get to the AFC North. The Ravens lost to the Bengals, maintained their position at the top of the division with the Steelers losing as well, but it is a slippery perch. Could be decided in the next 2 weeks with games against the Steelers and the rematch with the Bengals. Very, very, very unlikely a wildcard team comes out of this division. Right now, 50-50 odds for the Ravens. The second part of the AFC North, the Steelers are up next. Now losers of 2 straight and having their fans turn on them. Play the Ravens in Baltimore. Winner is in first place, so obviously a win could get the fans right back on their side. At 45% odds right now, a win would bring that to around 2 out of 3. A loss cuts it to around 1 in 5. One thing, at 6-6, they do still control their own destiny. That's all you can ask for. this late into the season, which cannot be said for the Kansas City Chiefs. Lost to the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Just about takes any chance of winning the AFC West, and now down to a 16% mathematical chance to make the playoffs. Have two big games coming up, both at home. This week against the Texans, seemingly a must-win, as it would at least let them leapfrog over one possible competitor for a wild card spot. Then against the Chargers, which even a win might not let them win a tiebreaker over the Chargers, as the Chargers beat them already and have a much better division record. They possibly need to win out. Maybe could get away with 10 wins. Things working in their favor are that besides being able to beat the Texans and Chargers to gain on them, those teams do have difficult remaining schedules. If we do some rough justice making things up for a story, if you figure the Patriots and Bills will be in, Broncos probably win the AFC West, although that is not totally settled. The AFC South teams could beat each other up enough that only one of them achieves 11 wins. So it isn't totally out of the picture that the Chiefs manage to sneak in, but probably only if they win these next two. If I plug in 2 losses now, but let them finish up at 9-8, that is a 1% chance. Well, the Bengals did get everything to go their way and probably feel better at 4-8 than some of the 6-6 teams do. Close to within 2 games of the Ravens and Steelers. Do have the best division record among the bunch, but still need to likely win out. There is one roadblock in that plan in the name of the Buffalo Bills. But if they can pull off an upset, finish with Ravens, Dolphins, Cardinals, and Browns, easiest remaining schedule on paper. Maybe need to hope the Ravens and Steelers split their series, but really should just concentrate on beating the Bills. Although I will say I plugged in an 8-9 finish with a loss to the Bills, and it was not the most dire picture in the world. The Dolphins are not eliminated quite yet, but are considered realistically out. Even a miracle 10-7 finish is unlikely to be enough for them, but we will never say never while there is still a chance. The Jets are not eliminated either quite yet, but at 3-9, it would really take some events for an 8-9 finish to get a wild card. If I plug that in as a finish right now, it still barely represents a fraction of a percent chance. Browns are ditto on that, although they are in the AFC North, so they are still technically in the division race. That would be something. Unrealistic, but 8-9 Browns could still win the division. The Raiders are eliminated from playoff contention, as are the Titans. That's it for now. Check out the Playoff Computer app for all your own playoff race analysis needs, and enjoy your day.